I wake up, and the first thing I see is an owl staring at me like I'm the main character in yet another disaster waiting to happen. Hedwig has that look that says, "Good morning, chosen one. We've got problems again. Look, I didn't ask for this. I just wanted 5 more minutes of sleep, but apparently my scar has notifications turned on. I haven't even had breakfast yet, and my scar is already working overtime. My forehead has a busier schedule than I do. I get up in the Gryffindor dormitory, step on a crumpled robe, trip over Ron's shoes, and nearly die before I've even brushed my teeth. Very heroic. Very prophecy. Very the boy who lived getting taken down by a sock. Ron is snoring like a troll. Neville is looking for his toad like we're in the middle of a military operation. And I'm just trying to comb my hair. Except my hair has a mind of its own. I just happen to shear ahead with it. I head down to the Great Hall hungry, exhausted, and with a feeling that someone's probably going to try to kill me again today. Business as usual. The Gryffindor table is loaded with toast, eggs, sausages, pumpkin juice, and enough owls flying overhead to qualify as airport traffic. Hogwarts is basically a boarding school with gorgeous architecture and absolutely no safety regulations. An owl drops off a letter for me. I open it with fear because letters in my life never bring good news. They're always a mission, a mystery, or a brand new problem. Hermione asks if I'm okay. She's already carrying 3 books, 2 quills, a mental planner, and a look of preventive suspicion. She stares at me like she already knows I'm about to do something illegal before I do. First class, potions with Snape. Walking into Snape's classroom is like walking into Judgment Day, except it smells like boiled cabbage. The man sees me walk through the door, and Gryffindor is already losing points. Potter, the second he says my name, I can already feel Gryffindor waving goodbye to the House Cup. I'm just standing there cutting daisy roots when, out of nowhere, Snape is suddenly behind me. That man has the supernatural ability to apparate exactly when you're about to make a mistake. Always so eager to be the center of attention, Snape says. Sir, the only thing I'm trying to impress is this cauldron. Hermione's hand shoots up so fast she nearly knocks my glasses off. Ron looks like he's negotiating with his cauldron to stop it from exploding. I add 1 ingredient half a second too late, and my potion starts smoking like it's judging every life decision I've ever made. Snape looks at me, I look at the potion looks back. 5 points from Gryffindor because apparently my existence comes with a penalty. Next comes Defense Against the Dark Arts, which is supposed to prepare us for real threats. In reality, every year the professor turns out to be either a mystery, a disaster, or someone who clearly has no business teaching. So I already walk in suspicious. If he stutters, danger. If he won't stop talking about the books he wrote, danger. If he has a magical fake eye, honestly, I'm not even asking. If the professor smiles a little too much, danger. Today we're practicing Expelliarmus, my favorite spell, because it basically means I have no idea what's happening, but drop that. Very practical. Very on brand for me. I'm paired with Draco Malfoy. He shows up looking like he just stepped out of an expensive shampoo commercial, wearing that expression that says, "My father will hear about this." He says Potter with the confidence of someone who's never washed a single dish in his life. I raise my wand. He raises his wand. Ron whispers, "Hit him hard." Hermione whispers, "Focus, my scar, new notification." Wonderful. Draco fires something weird. I yell Expelliarmus. His wand goes flying and smacks Crabbe right in the forehead. That wasn't the plan, but I'm not exactly apologizing either. Then we head to herbology, because apparently learning how to handle plants that can kill you is considered an essential life skill. Professor Sprout has us pruning a venomous tentacula. The thing tries to bite Ron's gloves the second he gets close. Ron jumps back like he just insulted its mother. Neville tries calming it down by talking to it softly. One of the vines nearly grabs me, and for about 3 seconds I'm wrestling with a shrub in front of the entire class. Hermione, of course, finishes before everyone else. Mine just stares at me with what feels like deeply personal hatred. After lunch, I try to get 10 minutes of peace. 10, I'm not asking for money, I'm not asking for fame, I'm not asking for a normal childhood. Just 10 minutes. But no, because Hagrid shows up saying, "Harry, come here a second." Whenever Hagrid says a second, what he really means is, come meet a creature that definitely shouldn't exist. I love him, but that man can look at a creature with 8 eyes, fangs the size of my arm, and enough venom to melt a door and say, "Ah, look at him. He's shy." We head to his hut. He offers me tea and what appear to be rocks, disguised as biscuits. I take a bite to be polite and immediately feel like my jaw has handed in its resignation. Hagrid is worried about a hippogriff, a giant spider, an illegal dragon, or some combination of the three. At this point, I don't even ask anymore. And then, my favorite part of the day finally arrives. Quidditch. Yes, finally. Something that doesn't involve exams, Snape, or solving a mystery nobody asked me to solve. People think being a seeker is glamorous. And honestly, when you catch the snitch, it is. The tiny detail is that first you have to survive 2 bludgers, dodge 7 other players, and convince your broom not to throw you into the void today. Wood gives me a 20-minute motivational speech. Oliver Wood doesn't talk about Quidditch, he preaches it. I'm pretty sure that if he could, he'd turn the rulebook into a sacred text. I climb onto my broom, and for a few seconds, everything is worth it. Right up until a bludger flies past my head with all the grace of a piano falling down a flight of stairs. Harry. The snitch. Right. Let me find a tiny golden ball the size of a walnut while taking part in the school activity with the highest injury rate in the entire castle. This is what being famous looks like, almost dying and getting applauded for it. Later that afternoon, Hermione insists we go to the library. The Hogwarts library is beautiful, ancient, and full of books that look like they'd insult you in Latin if you open them the wrong way. Madam Pince watches me like I'm a threat to paper itself. We're looking for information because, surprise, something weird is happening. There's always something weird happening. A voice in the walls, a secret map, a deadly tournament, a suspicious professor, a 3-headed dog guarding a trapdoor. Hermione finds a clue in a massive book. Ron finds a chocolate stain on his robes. I find one more reason to worry. Teamwork. Later, we're walking through the corridors when Peeves comes flying by throwing ink bottles. The Bloody Baron floats past. Filch accuses us of plotting something. Mrs. Norris stares at me like she knows every bad decision I've ever made. I try to make it back to the common room without getting into trouble. The fat lady asks for the password. Ron forgot it. I forgot it. Hermione remembers it, but lets us suffer for 3 whole seconds just to teach us a lesson. Caput Draconis. We walk in. The common room is warm, noisy, and full of Gryffindors acting like the castle doesn't try to kill us at least a couple of times every term. I sit by the fire, and for the first time all day, I think, this is nice. Rookie mistake. Dobby appears out of absolutely nowhere, smacks his head against a table, and tells me not to do something I'm obviously going to end up doing anyway. Dobby is basically my anxiety with ears. Dobby, please, not now. He starts crying. So do I. Internally, with proper British dignity. Night falls. Everyone heads upstairs to sleep. I should sleep. I really should. But then my brain goes, what if we use the invisibility cloak? So I put it on and sneak out. Because apparently my survival instincts were raised by a short-sighted basilisk. I walk through dark corridors filled with snoring portraits, creaking suits of armor, and shadows doing suspicious things. I hear footsteps. I press myself against the wall. Snape, it's always Snape. That man has an incredible talent for showing up exactly where he's least wanted. I hold my breath. My scar suddenly starts burning. Mate, not now. Snape stops, looks around. Meanwhile, I'm standing there under the cloak, sweating like I'm taking an oral history of magic exam. Eventually, he leaves. I survive. I reach an area where I absolutely shouldn't be. I notice something strange. A sound, a whisper, a half-open door. My common sense says, Harry, go back to bed. But my full name is Harry James Potter, and apparently that translates to boy who opens forbidden doors. Inside, there's a mirror. The mirror of Erist. I walk closer, and I see my parents. Yeah, this is where the jokes quiet down for a minute, because somewhere between dragons, Snape, Malfoy, venomous tentacular, and homicidal flying balls, sometimes I'm just a kid staring at something he'll never have. But even then, my life won't let me be dramatic in peace. Dumbledore appears out of nowhere with that tired grandfather energy of someone who knows absolutely everything and definitely doesn't sleep enough. He tells me something profound about desire, danger, and not living inside dreams. I nod like I understand. I don't, but it sounds expensive. I make it back to the dormitory late, still wearing the cloak, my chest feeling heavy, and with the certainty that tomorrow will probably be worse. I lie down. Ron is still snoring. Neville finally found his toad. Hermione is probably dreaming about passing exams that haven't even been invented yet. And I stare at the ceiling thinking that maybe being the chosen one doesn't mean being brave all the time. Maybe it just means getting up the next morning even when your forehead has notifications turned on. Your school is basically a death trap, and your best strategy is yelling Expelliarmus and hoping for the best. Because in the end, I never have all the answers. I almost never have a good plan. Half the time I improvise, the other half I run, and somehow I still make it to the next day. I guess that's Hogwarts, a place where you make lifelong friends, learn magic, and develop a supernatural talent for finding trouble. So tomorrow I'll wake up, fight with my hair again, dodge Snape again, Draco will find a new way to annoy me, and, if I'm lucky, nobody will try to kill me.